All right, what's up, Alabama fans? It's Andrew Bone here with BamaInsider.com, bringing you guys a weekend recruiting update. It's already been an exciting week for the Crimson Tide as Alabama landed two elite defensive back commitments. The first being Jalen Inbach, defensive back out of Clay Chalkville High School, just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. This is one of the best high school football players in the country. Plays on both sides of the football, but is recruited specifically as a defensive back for the Crimson Tide. Has also been clocked a 10.4 in the 100 meters, one of the fastest players in America in the 2024 recruiting class. Also committing to Alabama this week is Caleb Downs, the number one safety in the country in the 2023 class, number one overall player in the state of Georgia. Alabama now has the top two players in the state of Georgia committed to them in Justice Haynes and Caleb Downs, go along with Dylan Lonergan, four-star quarterback. This is a tremendous recruiting class by the Crimson Tide so far, 15 commitments, and it looks like Alabama's closing in on a few more guys who will be making decisions over the course of the next few weeks. But let's talk about this upcoming weekend for Alabama. This is a big weekend because a lot of recruits making their final trips to Tuscaloosa and elsewhere before the start of their senior season, junior season. We'll see a lot of juniors on campus this weekend. We're going to see a lot of guys who are going to be entering their senior season also in Tuscaloosa this weekend, including Miles McVey, four-star offensive tackle out of East St. Louis High School in Illinois. He's going to be in town Friday through Sunday. This is his second unofficial visit to Alabama this summer. He's also planning on returning to Alabama for the Alabama-Texas A&M game on October the 8th for his official visit. Now, Miles McVey has a commitment date set up right now of August the 11th. Certainly looks pretty good for the Alabama Crimson Tide as we head into the final 2 weeks of him making this last trip to Tuscaloosa before his commitment. Another big visitor heading to Alabama this weekend is Keon Keeley, five-star edge rusher out of Tampa, Florida, is one of Alabama's prime targets in this class. We've talked about him, throughout the year. Even though he's been committed to Notre Dame, this is a guy that we have often discussed. He's been in heavy communication with the Crimson Tide throughout the last several months. Visited Alabama back in late January for Junior Day. Now, keep in mind, when he made that trip to Tuscaloosa earlier this year, he was already committed to Notre Dame. So this is going to be his second visit with the Tide since his commitment to the Fighting Irish. So we'll keep a very close eye on Keon Keeley. This is just an unofficial visit, so he still has an official visit date that he can take down the road. But those are two of the bigger names that are going to be in town. Some of the other guys that we're going to be watching closely this weekend includes Demetric Bell and Jaron Hamilton, two wide receivers who received offers from Alabama last month during football camp. Now, Alabama does have two wide receiver commitments already in Cole Adams, Malik Benson. Still think they're going to add one more, and these are two guys that Alabama really likes a lot. Demetric Bell, currently committed to Michigan State, but has expressed a lot of interest in Alabama, earned an offer that last weekend in June from the Crimson Tide. And then Jaron Hamilton out of Florida received his offer during the second week of Alabama's football camp. So these are two guys that Alabama has a lot of interest in. I think they would certainly take one of the two. And so we're going to be watching both of those guys pretty closely. Now, we're going to see a lot of Alabama commitments back in town this weekend, including Justice Haynes, who committed to Alabama a few weeks ago. We're going to see Raquez McElderry, the former UGA commitment. He's going to be back in town. Wilkin Formby is going to be on campus. We're going to see a lot of other commitments that are going to be in Tuscaloosa, including Perry Thompson, the 2024 wide receiver commitment out of Foley High School. One of the very intriguing prospects in that 2024 class making a trip to Alabama this weekend also includes Ellis Robinson, one of the top defensive backs in 2024. Has a close relationship with Travaris Robinson, visited Tuscaloosa back in the spring. So this is certainly a guy that they're putting a lot of effort in recruiting. He named Georgia as his favorite few months ago. But as of right now, I do believe Alabama is right there in the race with them. He's making that trip back to Tuscaloosa this weekend, so they can certainly become a very big challenger to the Bulldogs with another great official or unofficial visit, this weekend with the Crimson Tide. So keep it right here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. We'll have a lot of breaking news coming over the course of the next few days with some big news coming for this channel on Monday. So stay tuned and have a great weekend. Roll Tide.